Welcome to another episode of Studio B Sessions with me, Bindra, the owner of Bindra Productions here in Orlando, Florida. It's a podcast where we have unfiltered, raw, unedited conversations with other video professionals. And Mario is again on the producer table helping us make this thing happen.
Hey guys, how are you today?
And our guest today is Jacob, an industry professional of many years who's been killing it, building you've built essentially a really incredible small team of people and found yourself a really cool niche. It's just incredible what you're doing.
Thanks, brother. Well, first of all, thank you for having me back.
I know. You're one of the few people who are, coming back. And again, it's not that everyone was great. I'm just saying I just wanted it to be a lot of new people, but I also wanted to bring some favorites back from season 1. So thank you again for willing to do this again.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was driving over here and I was thinking about all the things we talked about. I'm like, okay, we have some evolved conversations to go over.
Exactly. We can go deeper now. We can actually see what worked, what didn't work, what we can do different. I think it's just, again, the whole point of this is to just catch up. And we were already going to have these conversations. Might as well let other people listen to it. And, it's just entertainment. You're cleaning the house. Might as well listen to other people who think like you than, I know, some random other podcast. And then for me, I love doing these when I'm driving. You're taking a road to Miami or Atlanta, play a podcast. As a filmmaker, I'm saying I like to listen to other filmmakers, right? Than just random people. So this is fun. So how's things been? What has changed in the last, 7-8 months than we talked?
Wow. So super crazy. I mean, first things first, I really stopped trying to control my business. All of last year, it was really about trying to set myself up for success and trying to put, conversations or people in place to exponentially grow for 2025. And what I figured out was it was just causing me so much headache and heartache. And so I just decided to totally let go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the biggest change. And honestly, it's been the best thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you have to let go of?
Well, first of all, we did let go of a staff member.
Okay.
That's always huge. Changes the whole dynamic of everything entirely. And I would say I stopped chasing clients.
Mm-hmm.
In between, those two things, on the flip side, I had so much more peace and free time, which I could invest in my family, my home, or myself, nerding out, playing games. So, and then it was really cool kind of when I just submitted to that, to then have stuff come to me. So in getting clients that I never could have dreamed of or pursued.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very, very fortunate to get a couple of those this year in 2025 without any sales or.
Why do you think they found you? How did they first find you, and why did they pick you? I guess would be the question.
So I'd say the one that I'm thinking of in particular, it's a really gnarly story. I am contractually allowed to talk about the work. So yeah, I'll go ahead and share. I'll share it because I think it'll be valuable. It'll be super valuable to everybody. But I had a friend who just personally cared about me and personally looked out for me, and it would invite me to networking events. Her name is Callie, and so we had a relationship. Just kind of stayed in contact once a year, twice a year at these events. And then she moved companies to a bigger company called Clarity Innovations. And she put my name in the hat for some video production. They were revamping their website. And so her team invited me to bid. And I did bid on the project, and I put together a pretty gnarly number. It was I put together $250K package or something like that. But the scope was huge. The scope was, it was
What is it, like a years of year worth of content, or what?
It wasn't. It was mostly about having really pristine and very specific visuals.
Okay.
Like they wanted their executives like outside of the office, so they wanted home life. They wanted, and the way I saw that was like, okay, I'm gonna need crew to move, and they also wanted production done within like 3 weeks, and they wanted to cover like 5 to 7 executives. So in my head, I was doing math.
You gotta have teams.
I have to have at least 2 teams shooting every single day, trying to hit maybe two people a day in just production. And then they wanted it turned around within it was like 2.5 months. They wanted all the videos edited, and they wanted VFX too. And I was like, okay, I have to hire a lot of people for this. So I just did some rough numbers, and then I put in the bid, and then we didn't get it, and they were like, hey, you were definitely over. And I was like, okay, like I'm happy. I was almost happy they didn't select me, because I knew that my life was going to become like really,
hell for a couple of months. Yeah,
it was going to be horrible.
Yeah.
So I was actually kind of glad I didn't get it. And then, as expected, they had tons of delays, and the website was delayed, and the videos didn't come in 3 months, which would have changed my price entirely.
Yeah.
And so
it was them delays, or the people who won the
people who won the contract
didn't do a good job?
Yeah, they didn't satisfy the contract by the time, which we would have.
Yeah, yeah.
But so that was there. Well, again, I was like not worried. I wasn't like, oh, you guys skipped me or passed me or whatever. I didn't criticize anything. The videos came out. They were awesome. I congratulated them. Thought they were amazing. And then out of nowhere, this is a great example. Me and my DP were in the airport getting ready to fly to San Diego, and the flight kept getting delayed. I haven't had a delayed flight in like years out of MCO.
Oh,
I mean, I
really?
know they happen, but I haven't had one in years. And I was looking at him and I was like, I don't feel like we should go. I got a bad feeling. And so I called my client in San Diego, and I said, I'm going to pay a DP to come out. And it was Alberto. He's in San Diego. He's a DP, but he has a YouTube channel. Pulled through, amazing product. So we stayed. We all of our gear. We drove right back home.
So you basically had a premonition, basically, or a premonition is the right word.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't just get on the flight. You didn't. You just hired another DP, which is fine. I mean, because it's good to collaborate with other filmmakers.
Yeah.
Did something come out of that? Was that correct?
So here's where the story comes. Okay. So, and there was actually 3 delays.
Yeah.
So when the third one hit, I was like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I just told the client, like, I'm bringing in a DP. So the next day, I get a call from Callie. Her team with Clarity Innovations is in Tampa for Soft Week, and she wants to know if we can come out and work with them. And it was like really informal. There was no like marketing team or anything. She kind of just was able to get us there under her budget for their marketing, for their presence at Soft Week. And so we were like, yeah, we'll go. We showed up 2 days later. We spent the whole day with the team interviewing the executives, just run and gun, no setups, just like cameras on the fly, audio on the fly. And in hindsight, the team didn't really appreciate that we kind of backdoored the company's whole process. And so I then had to go through their whole onboarding process of like legal. So we were like, I was signing a contract like retroactively.
Because you had already technically worked with them, and they're like, hey, you have all this onboarding process you got to do. Yeah. That's
but
funny.
it was amazing because like, whoa, like, okay, I had to submit a bid. They didn't take it. There's a massive competitive process for the bid process.
Yeah.
But then I was able to come in, do all this work.
And no bid, just they wanted
and
to.
then they had to retroactively onboard me.
Yeah.
So it was that was like one of the biggest examples of like, whoa, like just let go. Like just let go. Stop trying to control it. Because things will come to you.
Yeah. And I'm sure after, like you said, it didn't get done on time. I'm sure the executives or whatever the team there also went like, see, you get what you pay for. We probably picked a lower bid, and Jacob and his team could have done a better job. Sure, it was a higher bid, but I'm sure you would have done it in time, probably done a better job. So I think they also saw that probably, and they were like excited to work with you. And like you said, you had an insider person there too, who's there looking out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
all good things for sure.
But that's awesome, man. That's so sick. You let go and things came to you. I've had that happen a few times since we spoke, but I mean this happens all the time where they'll call me and they'll say, "Hey, we need something," and it just doesn't work out. And I'm like, "Hey, it doesn't seem like we're the right fit," or this is what it is. This is how I can help you based on what you're telling me. What you're saying can't work or whatever. And then they say, "Okay, thank you," and then you just go and you say, "Okay, it didn't work out," and then for them to then come back like, hey, you were right. This is the way it's gonna be. So can you please help us? And I'm like, absolutely. Then you also don't have to have ego and say, no, I told you, and now I'm not gonna work with you. I'm like, no, absolutely, yeah, of course. We're in alignment, and it's okay if it took you a few days to go get other bids or talk to other people, so you can come back and be in alignment with me. And if you align, now you agree, and then we're all happy. Then let's do it. And I don't know. I don't mind like letting go and then letting them have their process. And some people don't come back, and that's okay. They were not my people.
So I find like one thing, in order for that to happen, you have to have the time to be a subject matter expert.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the time or like the respect, the space, them acknowledging you,
Mm-hmm.
that you have something, that you know what you're doing, and it's interesting because I've been able to achieve that with clients, like especially nonprofits, because I come to them wanting to help. And so typically I consult for free, which gives me the foundation or the authority, because I'm doing it for free. I have nothing to lose, to say like, you guys are making a big mistake by trying to do it this way. And I've gotten a lot of business just like trying to help people and then being able to consult them and say like, hey, there was an example a couple of years ago where I think we talked about this last time. They wanted 2 sets. I said it should be one.
Mm-hmm.
There was redundancy issues of like, what if you lose footage? You don't have a good DP monitoring. And vice versa, you can consult them on spending more, on investing more, right? But I think the question for you that I have is, when you're talking to a client, like when you're talking to not a nonprofit, when you're sitting with an executive or a marketing department, how do you approach those conversations and how do they evolve where you have the authority to give them advice that they deem valuable, and they're like, oh, I should spend this, or oh, we shouldn't spend that? Like, a lot of that is obviously relationships long term, but is there a short term conversation?
You're right. No, there has to be, like you said, they have to acknowledge who you are and what you do for them, right? If you're just a videographer, then no, you cannot have that conversation and that relatability. But yes, if you're a production company owner or just in general, you are their partner, you're their video partner, then they have that respect. That can come from 2 ways: either you having worked with them for years, or B, they already come from a referral or warm lead, like from a friend, where they know who you are. They're like, no, this person knows what they're doing, right? They help these brands or whatever. So it can happen immediately, but has to come as I would say, a warm lead, or somewhere where they kind of know who you are. Because if they don't know you, then that respect isn't there, and then that will need to be built. But you're right, because I at least approach conversations with very simply like, what is it that they need, right? And a lot of times what they'll tell me is not what they actually need, unless they are a marketing person that knows video production. And that is nice too. I work with marketing manager who worked at agencies that are like, yeah, I know we need an art director, we need a DP, we need a producer, I need this, right? So it makes it a lot easy. Like, oh, but our budget is only this, so what do we eliminate? Point is, those ones are easy, but those are not everywhere. Most of them, they don't understand our process. They're just like, hey, I need like I need a series of videos or I need a video and then this is what I need. Like what's the budget? Or sometimes they don't even have a budget. And then that's where you come in. And I generally just approach the conversation with like genuineness to help them. It's like, okay, yeah, you've obviously they've want to talk to me. Usually they've approached me. So I'm like, let's talk. And then it's just like figuring out and then usually start to find clues. So what do you want to do? What platform do you want to put it on? What's the goal? What's the timeline? What's the budget? And then let's say they have no budget. Then I'm like, do you have a reference video that you've done in the past or that you liked that you were like, we want to do something like that? Because then I can look at that video and I can get an idea that I'm like, hey, by the way, that video looks like it has a budget of at least, 6 figures. You're looking about 100 to 150 grand. Is that within your budget? Because you'll know fast, like, yeah, that's what we're thinking of. They won't flinch or they're like, oh, wow, it costs that much. Then you can go, hey, here's a lower tier option we can offer you. Because it's not like we can't help them. It's just like, we can get there 90% there, but we can do this to get there. Or if they don't flinch at that number, then you're like, okay, yeah, they understand what this, or at least if they don't understand, they can get there to the right numbers. Then we can talk about, okay, so this is how many shoot days we can do it in. This is the number of crew. Do you think you'll be able to arrange what you need to arrange for us in those days? And they can go, yes. And they're no. Then I'm like, okay, then we need to add more to the budget because we're going to need to add a couple more shoot days. What I'm saying is, it sounds silly, but they usually will give you the answers. You have to dig, and you have to dig and dig and dig. And it's easier when you know them. But even if you know them, as long as you approach it with a point that I'm trying to help you, right? Because at the end, you're not trying to take advantage of them or anything. You're just trying to literally figure out the scope of the project.
Yeah.
The easier you can get that, sometimes it's 30 seconds in, they already know, they give you the scope. I don't need to elongate this meeting and waste their time just to show that I'm an expert. I hope that makes sense. If they give me what I need, I have the full scope. I know what I need to do. We can recently I had a $60,000 project that I closed. Meeting didn't even go 30 seconds. I'm not joking. Client called me. What do you need? Do you need this? What's the budget? This is the budget. How many shoot days? This is the number of shoot days. Can you do it, Vipul? Yes, absolutely. Done. Sign. I'm sending the contract. Easiest contract to write for me too, because it's like, they told me what they want. So here's the scope. And obviously we can go a little outside, there's wiggle rooms, but easiest meeting. But sometimes you have to take 2-3 meetings, right? You have to go back over and over to define the scope because they're like, oh, it'd be nice to do headshots that day. And I'm like, okay, now that's the new thing of scope. Let's add that. So now we're adding photography to it. That wasn't part of the thing at all. And I think that's where it can be a long process to get there. But once you work with a client over and over again, it just only gets easier and easier. I hope that makes sense. I do want to ask a question from Mario. You had an opportunity recently to come to a meeting with me. Now, I know it wasn't a sales type of meeting. It was still like a pre-production meeting. What do you think about it? Do you have any feedback or input?
Well, we have already worked with this client. Well, for
Yeah.
you more than me. I worked with them like 2 times already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they really are a great client. They're
Yeah.
really good to work with. They listen to us. They listen to you. So I think the meeting went great. Um, and I think they help us know what as much as they can. Obviously, they help us understand what is the project about, what is the video that we are doing, and they make our job easier to do. And, yeah.
Do you think the
and more
meeting
fun.
went the way we wanted it to go? That's the main thing I wanted to go, like the direction of the meeting and how we approached getting to where we needed to go. Because we needed to understand the scope of the work, right?
Mhm.
So what do you think about that?
No, I think it went great. It was like we understand everything
Mhm.
that they wanted, like in 30 minutes. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, and I think, and now we are shooting next week. We already know what they want, and it's a big. I think it's a big project,
Yeah.
right? It's a big scope.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's about 50-ish grand. So yeah.
yeah. But in general, I think, in just 30 minutes we understand what they wanted, and yeah, we're ready to make it happen,
Yeah.
to make it real.
There you go. So that's again, and like I said, it's just, and I was so glad you were there. Helped me, I brought him and Julie. I was like, so handling production with me, and then handling the post production with me. I want everyone to be here, so we all on the same page. And I was surprised. I had marked an hour for the meeting. 30 minutes later, we were done because it was so easy. We approached him. I was just like, "Do you have a reference video?" Same thing. Because we had already signed the contract at this point. I kind of understood what they wanted, but had not seen a reference video. And they were like, "Well, we don't have one." Actually, we do. It's amazing. It's just asking that.
Yep.
We were like, "This would be nice." And I was like, "Okay, do you have another one?" And then she showed me another one. I was like, "Okay, here's what we can do. Current scope of work, we cannot do that. This is too low quality. How about we merge the two? We can make it, interviews like this, but we can do B-roll like this. I can do it in the current scope of work, same budget, not changing anything." And the client was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." So it made it a lot easier, but I had to ask for that. They didn't even think about, reference videos or anything like that. So it's I think like that. I don't know if that answers what you were looking for. It's just more like, I don't know, approach it from a friendly standpoint is what I try to do. Now, not all clients are like that. There's some type A personalities. That's where it gets difficult. And that's where I have to go, is this the client the right fit for me? And it depends on the project. Sometimes the project is so awesome that it's worth dealing with the personality. But sometimes it's like, I don't know. And that's where if you have the time to get out, and let somebody else have a go at it.
Yeah. And case in point, the job that I let them have, I think they did great, but at the same time, it would have been a monster of a project.
Yeah, absolutely. 250 grand is no money to not look at. Like, I mean, that's a huge amount of revenue to add to the money. I mean, so yeah, I mean, but again, like you said, if no point going back and being disappointed about it, because it sounds like you did the best that you could with the project parameters that were given. And if they didn't see it, doesn't mean they didn't see in the future, though. Maybe you'll get way more opportunities now because they're seeing what the other people can do and what you can do. And that's why I like to tell people, like, there's no competition. There's so much work in video production. There's so many companies, and more need more and more content. I think it's just about showcasing what you can do, continuously evolving yourself and doing the best. And it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. Clients will just automatically notice. Like you said, they did work with you, they worked with them. Now they know who works and what the processes are and how easy or difficult it is to work with whoever. And the next time it'll be very easy for them to pick who they want to go with, right? And I'm pretty sure you did an amazing job. That next time they won't hesitate to give you the RFP or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And if not, I'm sure you won't lose sleep over it.
No, yeah. And, I mean, like, I have this theory that we have expenses. Like, it's like your car, your mortgage, your health, your children. Like, you have these expenses. And it really hasn't changed since we first met years ago. And all the freelancers and, subcontractors that I've met, I just feel like whatever our expenses, we get that work. Like, we don't have to worry. We'll be covered, and having faith in that you'll be provided for. It's like,
it's very important because, you've been doing this long enough, and that's the trade of the business. I'm sure at some point you think about it. I know I do. I'm like, I'm used to making so much. But then earlier this year, for example, February was a very slow month for me, which is not normal for me. Like, but I think it was the economy or whatever. At least that's what I'm saying. Because I did. But, it came the first week and I'm like, I have no work. That makes no sense, So I picked up the phone. I called a few other production company owners I know, and they were like, yeah, it's slow. So I was like, okay. First of all, it's not just me. I didn't do something wrong. And then you have to go back, and it's like, okay, so let me go back and now revisit what I can do here. Because clearly tariffs, economy change, whatever, people are worried. My clients are not spending money. Reached out a few. They're like, yeah, we're just holding off right now. We'll get back to you. So I'm like, okay, now it's out of my control situation. I can sit here and panic, or I could just have faith. And I talked with Julie when she was on the podcast. I was like, so I can do two things. I can be scared. I can quit. I can back up. Or I'm going to do what Bindra would do. I'm going to double down. I'm like, oh, economy's slow. Let's go at it him. Let's acquire more equipment. Let's go down. And I know other people think that's silly, but I'm like, no, I am not going to quit. I'm not going to worry. And look, it was February and March, and we picked up smaller projects that normally I would pass off. I was like, okay, so you needed something smaller. Let's go do it. And Mario helped me on a bunch of them, and we went out and we actually So like you said, there was enough work, bills were paid, everyone's good. It wasn't the big, massive projects, and come April, like bam, it's been crazy. I haven't had day off, for months. So you never know. What I'm saying is, I could look at that and blame a billion things for why I don't have work, and I was like, I can't control the economy. I can't control my clients, and it's not like I can control what I do, and if clearly they're not mad at me, they're just uncertain about the situation and the economy. And I'm like, sure, but that doesn't mean the small companies stop shooting, right? So I'm like, well, they have projects, let's go do that, and they want to work with me. Sure, the budgets may not be the highest. We're working 3 to 5 to 6K videos. That's okay. We can give them huge value because now they get all this, right? for not much money, and we had work, so we were able to pay our bills. So I think, like you said, it's just a way of approaching it. You can approach it from a sense of negativity, or you can approach it from a sense of positivity. And because humps will always happen in business, that's just nature of business. I'm sure, and I know you mentioned this on the last season. There was time where you didn't have work for 6 months, and then the 6 months was amazing. You killed it. That's just nature of business. You can sit there and look at 6 months ago, panic, but then you have to look at the bigger picture. Like, no, we killed it the 6 months. It's okay. Like, it's the nature of the business. We cannot take this time to, which I want to jump into next, go into look into government contracts or whatever you're trying to do to expand your business, and not look at it from the standpoint of why don't we have so much work? Because that happens. That's nature of doing business. So coming to that, I would love people to know, follow up, because I know that's what last time we talked. That's what you're trying to do, trying to get more government contracts, trying to get into those systems and processes or whatever to be able to get those. Did you have any luck? Were you able to close any?
No. So the only thing that has come out of applying for government contracts is a lot of spam mail from people who want my business.
Yeah.
Once you're registered in the SAM system, which is the procurement system, they have a lot. They actually procure contracts on a lot of different platforms, but SAM is the big one. And once I was registered, oh my gosh, I have just been solicited by hundreds and hundreds of other.
Yeah, because your email becomes public then, right?
Yeah. Everything becomes public. But I did submit. So between now and the last time we spoke, I did put in two proposals. They were requests for proposals, which is that's kind of the final stage. And because you can have like requests for quote, you can have requests for information, there's a lot of different stages in the process where the government kind of goes through before they actually put out a request for a proposal or whatever. And so we did put in 2 packages. They typically take like me like 3 or 4 full days to put together, just like really looking at what is the job, what are the deliverables, what's the crew going to be, how much time, logistics, making sure because it is very easy to lose money on government contracts. A lot of people do it. And then once they realize the numbers aren't right, they try to back up the product quality, and then the government gets a really lackluster product. So I don't want to be like that. So I try to really look at the proposal and all the deliverables and make sure like I'm on the number. And so I take my time, and it takes time. And so we submitted for a couple of cool projects. We didn't hear back, but sometimes it's crazy. Like I looked at one of the contracts, and one of them they've been soliciting proposals for almost a full year, and basically like it's their prerogative. They'll look at, oh, okay, we got 30 companies that submitted this. We don't like any of them,
so we're gonna keep going.
Let's put it out again. And so it's like really hard, and you don't know what they're doing on their end, or sometimes administration lacks the funding for the human resources. So there's just a lot of factors that go into it.
Did that affect you in any way? I know tariffs were a factor for my clients, like backing up a little bit. Do any of this economy, and I know Doge was a thing, like cutting government funding and spending and all that. Do you think that was any factor towards any of these, or no?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the proposals I put in was like directly impacted.
Hmm.
And I was like, how are they putting out a proposal right now? Like,
Yeah.
I just saw on the news, like their resources got
Yeah.
cut. Like, this doesn't
Exactly,
make
yeah.
any sense.
So that
Yeah.
probably was. It was supposed to be out, but then their resources got cut, so it's just in the middle of
Yeah.
limbo. What range are these type of RFPs? So the ones that you submitted through the system, what is kind of like the realistic range that people can expect from?
Yeah. So you can do a lot of research. It's great. Like, you can
Mhm.
go on, I believe it's sam.gov, and you can look at the awards. You
Mhm.
can look through all these people that were awarded. And so I try to do a little bit of research, and it's interesting. You know, I really do feel like a lot of these contract awards are done as a long-term conversation where you have access to these people and like you really know what they want
Mhm.
specifically, and like you really refine your numbers. So it's hard to look at a proposal and be like, oh yeah, this number is it's gonna be in this range. It's really hard to like guess that. I think you have to be in conversation with them and really like just talk about the project long term, and then arrive at a number, and then they put out the request for proposal, and then the
Yeah.
number's already established.
Makes sense.
But you know, we submitted one. It was a really cool one in kind of Arizona, around that area for the it's DINE, the I believe it's Dene, the tribe. It's Navajo, but the proper
Yeah.
term is Dene, I believe. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was a federal contract to produce a completely unbiased story and heritage of that people.
Oh wow.
So the government was paying for a
Yeah.
filmmaking company to go in and interview elders, and then like they could literally slander the government if they wanted. They could tell the story the way they wanted, and the government would actually be able not to have a say.
Yeah.
Or
That's a pretty cool project.
yeah. So we applied for that one. In the scope, I think I arrived at, they were like they said a competitive bid would have been around 50,000, and I was like, there's no way I can, but I wanted it, so I think I put in for like 75, 80.
That's
I was
pretty,
like, I can't do
because
it
you have
lower.
to fund travel, right? And then you have to go there, and I'm sure you'd spend some time there. How many days were you thinking you'd spend there getting that content?
Well, the scope was big. So, like, first of all, they wanted pre-production. They wanted you to meet with elders. They wanted you
Before you even film
even film anything. They wanted you there, speaking with them, getting to know them. They wanted at least 2 shoot days at separate ends of the year, so to cover seasons. So that's like logistically, that's a flights in and out, how much crew. And so I was really trying to do it bare bones, but it's just so ultimately what they were looking for was somebody who was like in the city, who could just,
because they wouldn't have the travel expense or whatever. Yeah.
The problem is like if there's not a good video storytelling company in the city, that project is just going to get recycled again.
Yeah.
Until they up their price and they can get somebody that can actually do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's issue with, I guess, government contracts.
Yeah.
Is it's not like a private corporation where they can immediately make that change if they want to. They can see that, hey, this isn't working out. Because I do see that a lot happens in corporate too, where they're like, no, we want somebody local. They don't want to pay for travel or whatever. But then immediately they'll apply, and then they'll see the type of bids they're getting, and then they go, okay, maybe we need to expand the scope. But they can do that sooner than, like you said, it may take them government a while to do that. So interesting. So where has most of your business been coming from? Just past clients, referrals, Google?
So just past clients, letting them take the relationship where they want, and just trying to be more valuable to them. And like I've had clients where I'm like, they have a good product from us. They don't need more from us. Yeah. And this is a good relationship. And then they come to me and they're like, hey, we have something totally different. You're the right person. And so, we end up doing, instead of 50,000, we end up doing 100,000 with that client.
Mhm.
And so, and like, part of me does not like getting a majority of, our revenue from 3 to 5 people.
Mhm.
It's uncomfortable because
Yeah.
it could go away at any time.
Yeah.
But it goes just back to the whole, like, have faith that the business will be there. And like, I've never been let down.
Mhm.
If you look at, the seasons over the last 4 or 5 years, it's like, okay, that person came in out of nowhere. That person came in out of nowhere. Like, I never talked to that client before. They
Mhm.
approached me, and it's just always
Yeah.
happens. So
Exactly. Yeah, you never know, but that is the key. Most people I know that are successful with video, the truth is, yes, majority of their business comes from under 10 clients, sometimes under 5 clients, like you said, that is paying majority of the bills. The truth is, uh, chances of finding, 30, 50 new clients every month is just unrealistic. So you do have one-off clients that come and go, right? But majority of the income is those clients that love working with you and they constantly have need for video and you are the company that is for them, right? But there is a risk factor, obviously, anytime you do that, that any one of them could pull out at any minute, and you're now that's a big chunk of hole that is left, there. But the truth is, that's just how it is. I don't know video people who are I'm talking doing good numbers. It's different when you're under 100K or whatever, but when you're over 6 figures, that's usually how it is. I'm saying most people I talk to, they're like, yeah, this is my agency, this is my people. I do that. They just send me, and this just comes right. And then that doesn't mean you don't do outreach. That doesn't mean reach new clients, because some of them do get replaced, over time. But it's just how I guess the nature of the beast, right?
yeah, and case in point, I don't remember if we covered this last time, but the first biggest client that I had, which over 3 years was probably like, I don't know, 150 to 200 in revenue. Like, after 3 years, they just cold turkey cut me off.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, because you're relying on that revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, dang, what if we had that revenue?
Yeah.
But
it's the agency you're talking about, right? I think you had an agency that was giving you that much work. Is that, or it's a different
it was a
client?
construction company
Yeah.
that we did incentive trips for.
Mhm.
It was amazing. We went to Costa Rica with them. We went to where did we go? Texas, Austin, just Colorado. Like, we kind of went everywhere with these guys for their incentive trips and sales training trips for their staff. And we would make everything look real sexy. Yeah, they were a huge, massive chunk of our business for the first 3 years. And then losing them was like, oh my gosh, like it's honestly been super hard to let go. Like, I try to keep in contact with a lot of them and just like, hey, how are you doing? Or keep up with birthdays and stuff like that. And just understanding that video production is not a part of their business development anymore or right now. So,
doesn't mean it won't be in the future.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's good to not burn bridges or, lose touch because you never know. You never know. And that's the thing about this business. Yeah.
100%.
And or if they even don't directly come, they may ever send you a referral or something, some other great opportunity, So yeah, it's really nice of you to keep touch,
On that note, I think one of the most important things is people. If you have a good relationship with somebody, like, take care of that relationship. It doesn't matter how low you think they are in the company. It does not matter. The way that I got that contract that really launched my business was I did event marketing for the ad agency here in Orlando. And on one of the jobs, she was like brand new. She was at sort of the bottom of the totem pole, very new. I was always nice to her. And then 4 years later, she had all the experience she needed. She got acquired by another company, and she called me first.
Yeah, because you were kind to her and you built a good relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People grow with you. That's why like people say, is college worth it? Film school. I'm like, not usually for skills, but it's good for networking because those people are gonna grow with you. guess what? Everyone you graduate, not everyone obviously gives into the industry, but most of them that do, they're going to know you, right? You network and they're going to take you with you. So even if a few of you get successful, either marketing managers here or directors here in some film company or whatever, at the end of the day, they can take you with them, right? And that's a huge advantage, the value of networking, because like I said, you never know what opportunities it's going to create. So that's awesome. Talk about gear. I know last time we talked, you were literally about to get on a flight to DC
Oh my
to get
gosh.
combo stands. It
Yeah.
still amazes me. You know, that's like one of the topics. Like, but I mean, it made sense. Like you said, you got them on a deal, right? But point is, yeah, you were gonna literally get on a flight, go get some equipment, and drive it down. So how did that go? And have you been, acquiring more gear?
Yeah. So it went good. Drive sucked, but I did it in record time. Did not get pulled over,
Yeah,
thank the Lord, but made it back down safely. I think I was like back in Orlando 12 hours later
that's crazy.
Yeah.
To think about. Yeah.
with all the gear.
What all did you get again? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I brought down like 4 C stands. One of them needs a lot of WD-40 or is just trash.
Yeah.
That's what you get with auctions.
Yeah.
I got two combo. I got a junior roller. I got a big 12x12 with I still haven't even popped that open. It has 2 different types of diffusion in it. And yeah, since that, and there's other gear I just can't
Yeah.
remember. But since getting that, I haven't used any of it.
Told you. Gear
Yeah.
is like the worst investment ever. So what cameras are you using now?
So, well, we just got back from a job where we actually put our 2 FS7s to use, which was great. And A7 IV and EOS R6 and GH5, the trusty
Look at that,
GH5. Still
In deployment. That's
I
the
love
crazy
it.
part.
I love the GH5.
And that's what I tell people, again, gear matters, but it also doesn't matter in a way that, GH5 made me a lot of money back when I started the company, 2018, I think, and early part of 2019. But that doesn't mean the camera was bad. I just wanted autofocus. So I went to the C200. And look at you in 2025, still deploying the camera, and it's still making you money. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so for what we did with it was just really long roll times
Yeah.
and just like locked off in the corner. The full frame sensors we would get, our B-roll shots are 7 to 15 second takes, but then the GH5 could catch whatever.
Yeah.
Just in
could
case.
just roll. Yeah.
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 And then the FS7s, honestly, I'm just romantic about them. I can use whatever cameras, but I want to break them. Like I
Really?
just want to use them until
I
they're
mean, they're
broken.
still used everywhere because
Yeah.
before the FX6 got popular, that's what
Yeah.
was used everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we I used them with G Masters and like it's just beautiful. It's just great. So we have to go through. We're gonna play with the colors and. Yeah, I mean, as long as the colors and everything comes out good, I'll continue to use the FS7s.
Yeah. That's pretty good. So basically, everything you were using is working great. Everything new you acquired, or technically new to you from auction, has not been used. That's kind of crazy to me to think about, right?
Yeah, it is.
So did you hold that idea? I know you said you wanted to put together a van too. Are you still doing that, or is that idea on hold since you're not really using any of this
Yeah, so
bigger
like
stuff?
financially, my wife, she has, I think, a year left on her car.
Mm.
And so, like, after that, it's just the house, just the mortgage. And so I could totally pull the trigger on a truck or whatever right now, van. But just wanting to be like, well, first of all, I don't need it. I don't have clients that are like, hey, we need a grip package.
Yeah.
It needs to come from you. Or it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not rushing to make that investment just yet. But I do have a feeling that either this year or next year, the vehicle write-off is going to make a lot of sense.
Mhm. Yeah, if you're making enough money, that's the other part of it. Obviously, you don't want to buy things just to buy it.
Mhm.
But if it does make sense, the write-off, because, if it's a business expense, you can write off pretty much the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a huge benefit, tax-wise too. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to look at it, but at the same time, to be honest, same thing. I deployed the van January 1st this year. It's been very helpful. But the thing is, can I define straight up that, oh, by adding this van, I got additional revenue? No, I think I got like a couple of jobs, I would say, where the van was the reason they hired me, right? But those were small jobs. They made not much difference to the overall revenue. I'm saying the real jobs that actually paid the bills, none of them cared if I had the van. Now, yes, has it been deployed for us? And we've been enjoying it, yes, but it's a personal thing. I hope that makes sense. There is no justification to financials for having the van, right? But there's justification to how it made my life easy, not having to spend a whole day prepping and packing and then unpacking and re-prepping and same thing for hiring people like Mario to come on set, and where he's able to easily pull one card off, do the whole shoot without having to, again, bags after bags after bags. So there's value, but the value is in dollars, if that makes sense. It may be more time and ease of use, right? Would you agree? Has the van been a good help or no?
Because it makes every project easier to shoot, like very convenient, and at the end, it reduces time, like
Yeah.
for setup, and I think that's valuable time that you can spend like in other more important
Yeah.
stuff, like I don't know, getting another client, being on calls, right,
Yeah.
like that.
Facts. Also, I sometimes just call him just so I make sure he doesn't go to sleep.
It's too easy.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's a good value, and I want you to listen from a third party because he has no intention, no incentive to say something great. It's just that somebody I've hired as a freelancer being able to use it. I think it just makes it easier. Not that it was hard in the past, like you do now, right? Bringing cases. But now the thing happens with cases is people go, which case does this go in? Where does it go?
Yeah.
Which is a lot easier. Like it's right there, right? Everything has a space there, so it makes it a lot easier to point it out. Or once, like in 10 minutes, I could show you what goes where. It's not a big learning curve. But like I said, could I put dollars on it? Was it worth? Because the van was 60 grand. I think it was at least 10, 20 grand to upfit it. So have I gained 80 grand of value? Probably not. I could maybe say 5 grand of that was directly like revenue was responsible from the van. It's not worth it. But it's worth it the other way. So if you can justify that, like, hey, will it be easier? The good thing is in the past, I would have to know if you need a combo stand, right? I have to know, like, if you need a combo, sure, I'm bringing my combo. Now it's like we have the combo the whole time. Do we need it for most jobs? No, right? But here we are. We want to do a menace arm rig or a big boom arm rig, right? We're doing back here. We can. We don't have to tell the client, oh, well, we didn't plan for it. I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know. But obviously, you have to see if you can justify that or not.
Yeah, so the way I approach my company and my clients, like I don't go through any marketing companies, and I've defined my niche. So the plan is I get referrals within my niche without having to go through any companies or any other agencies. And so that allows me to decide what I want to bring to the table and how I want to do it, how I want to execute it, and ultimately be responsible and a stakeholder for the end result. And because of that, I can relate to you in that, like, I brought the FS7s because I wanted to. I brought the GH5 because I wanted to. I brought the Sackler because I wanted to. I bought a lot of Pelicans because I wanted to. Because I felt like it's what helped me get the job done safely, efficiently, and so I think there is, like, I'm lucky because I have that luxury to make those decisions for myself. But just going back to you with a van, me and my DP, we drove down in 2 cars filled with gear, 2 cars, right? Because we couldn't fit it in one. And then, we had to set up our carts because we have to break them down to fit in the cars. They're not vans, right?
Yeah.
So set up time on carts, restocking gear on carts, rolling it into the hotel, out of the hotel, on location, off location, back into a car, right? And so that's a lot of time. It's a lot of bending over. And, if I was doing to be honest with you, if I was doing 2 of those a month, I'd be very tired. I
Mhm.
would. Because
Yeah.
like if
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
we did a week, it was a week of
Yeah.
that job. And I could not do that like back to back, or I couldn't do 2 of those. I could probably get by doing 2 of those a month. But having, making an investment for myself, for my DP, for my crew is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what
yeah.
you're talking. And then the other thing is like you're adding more value because you're saying to all your clients, hey, I have all this stuff in my car, and that's just value added to
Yeah.
you. That's why you want to work with me next time.
Mhm.
Because I bring this stuff.
But here's the thing: I can equally, because I've been tracking. This was the whole thing getting January 1st. I can tell you, none of the clients signed me up for that. Now the value was there, like you said, the value add on that, saving that all that time, breaking down the carts, putting them back up, loading, true value. Obviously, I don't know how to put a dollar number on that, right? It would just have to be hours saved times what I'm paying average or whatever. Haven't calculated that, but I can directly tell you, not a single person outside the 2's jobs hired me because I had the van or cared. Because even if I mentioned, yeah, we got a cool van, and they're like, awesome, yeah, and they move on. Because they've already hired me. If they're reaching out to me, we're talking about the project, they've already hired me. Not a single person at all cared about the van. Outside of, here's the funny thing, other filmmakers.
Yeah.
They heard about it.
Yeah.
It's cool. Now, yes, has the van been helpful? Absolutely. Like I said, saving my back, very helpful. But direct correlation to client, like where I can say, oh, I have this van, you're all set. They don't care. They already know that. And I don't know. I haven't been able to directly correlate to that. So it's, I think, more of a ease of use and efficiency gain than a financial gain. Like I said, am I regretting it? No, I'm saying I wouldn't change a thing because that's what I wanted. I wanted to have everything out of here, somewhere for it to go. So that helps. But also, being able to bring it to all the shoots, like Chicago shoot, it was so awesome. I know we mentioned it multiple times, but being able to send Mario and Jared to just drive it all the way to Chicago, it's so easier that I got on a plane with literally nothing but a carry-on me. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, to not even have a backpack. I'm talking like, usually have a backpack, a carry-on, couple
Yeah.
of check bags.
Oh yeah.
And you always bring lower tier gear because, not lower tier, but smaller geared for travel. And here I am, I'm like, you're telling me this is all I have? Emmanuel was talking about, we were a little disappointed. We were put on Frontier. Normally, I would not be happy, but then I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I have no check bag. I have nothing. We just walked on the plane, put the carry on, sit down, chill. I don't know. Life was, it was nice. I'm sure it wasn't the greatest for these guys who had to drive 20 hours, and like you said, once we account for hotel time or whatever, 30 hours. But that's the advantage, though. The advantage we had there was we were familiar with all the gear. We opened the van and it was like, everything's right here.
Yeah.
Everything's familiar. We know where everything goes. It's our gear. The cost is also cheaper because if you went to rent that, and I say $500,000, it's probably way more now. Like I said, $600,000-$700,000 worth of gear. It would be a lot of money to rent. So there was a benefit, I'm saying, to the van. But again, it wasn't a cost benefit. I didn't get paid more for having the van or sending the van there or whatever. I hope that makes sense. That's what I'm saying. I don't know yet, and I guess I can't wait to find out in a year or two if you do it, and you can cost benefit analysis that.
So
Yeah.
the way that I've kind of built my company, because you're right. You have, and it's interesting because I think we've built our companies in different ways. And we have, I think you have more successful ways than I do. And I do think there's things that I can share that will help you.
Yeah.
So like one of those is I kind of like it's interesting. I have different discussions with my clients retroactively. So for instance, I'll have clients say, hey, I noticed that the invoice changed for this, like last year over year. It looks like a little bit more under this line item, under production or under post-production. And then I'll explain whatever. Like I'll explain, okay, good. I didn't know. I just wanted to know, just wanted to make sure there wasn't a mistake or we're all good. But what's interesting is like I just do my best to kind of cover the overarching cost of my assets or whatever. So when I make a new investment, so like the van or whatever, I will then create an averaged out cost in just our package overall. So the package goes up,
Yeah.
you know, the day rate goes up. And the way I see it is for me, for most of my work, you're buying the company for a day.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying the company for a week.
Yeah.
And so we bring the assets, we bring the resources, the crew. I will talk with the client and advocate for maybe more crew, like things that are bigger line items. But as far as the company acquisition for a day, it's like a non-negotiable, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're acquiring director's monitors or my like 7 different lighting packages, and I'm gonna choose what is gonna serve us the best,
Mm-hmm.
right?
No, that totally makes sense because that is the value that you provide.
But what's interesting is that I've had clients like, because you say like, oh, cool, you know, you show up on set and clients are like, oh, that's a really cool van, or that's it. That's the extent of it. But what's the way I've had those conversations of like my investments, clients bringing up my investments is like, oh, in the invoice, it's like, oh, could you explain what goes into production? It's like, yeah, this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm good with that. And that's how I feel that appreciation for my investments that I make.
Makes sense. See, I haven't had that client, and maybe that's the difference of clientele. Because I don't give. First of all, there's 2 types of clients that service, right? One is end clients. That's where I make majority of my money. The second is either agencies, or I'll say even like it could be a third element, but helping other friends or other production companies. That's more like a minor thing, but I'll lump it together. When I'm working with agencies or other production companies or my friends, then yes, equipment's a big talk. Like, hey, we want to use 2 FX6s, we use 2 FX3s. Sure, we'll use your 1200X or your 600X, whatever. I'm like, sure, whatever. Here's the price, pay it. But it's the lowest chunk. I make the lowest money when I do that. Like you, for example, hired me. Then yeah, we could talk about gear, what we're gonna use the van as an asset for probably hiring me or whatever. But where I make biggest chunk of money, we don't talk about that. Like I said, like for example, the meeting that Mario was talking about, the client called me. Like they said, like, hey, we want this, and I was like, you know how much this costs, so what's the budget? Because whoever says the first number is the one who loses, right? And again, I don't want to go too deep into the psychology of it, but my thing is I want to know, and this isn't a new client. They know how much production costs, and they themselves was like, well, yeah, this is how much this costs. This is going to be about this much, so it's going to come out to this much. And I was like, well, then there you go. That's the number. Can you do it? I did not say anything, right? I am literally asking them, and they said yes. And I'm now, of course, I'm not just arbitrarily coming in my brain. I'm going, can I do this for the number they said? How can I execute? Can I do that? And I'm like, a little tight, little hair, good, but yes, I can make that happen. And then basically, I'm like, so that's good. Can I send you a proposal? They're like, yeah, we can work with that. And I sent the proposal in. Life couldn't be any simpler. Easiest thing ever. And that's very common for me because what I'm trying to say is there's no value. Then the proposal did not at one point say pre-production, production, post-production. That's how I did in 2018. I left that a long time ago. The only thing I define in the contract is minimums. Like, hey, you're going to have minimum 3 production days. You're going to have 3-person crew. And you'll have 3 cameras. Just something so that there's a bare minimum for them. They can justify like what they're signing. Like they will have this. But I'm not doing that. That's not why you hire Bindra. I'm going to show up with 6 cameras and 6 crew members. And we're going to be there for 6 days. That's why I told my clients when they call, they were like, they were like, hey, I just want to understand this. Because they do have, when they were about to sign, I was like, hey, just this is the bare minimum you're gonna get, right? You know me. Every time I show up with an extra camera or extra person.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the bare minimum you're gonna get. That's what you're signing with me. But just so you know, next 2 months you will basically have full access to my company. And within reason, we're not gonna say no to you. And they know that because you have a relationship. I wouldn't do this with a new client.
Right.
And they were like, absolutely, yeah, it makes sense. Signed. Easiest thing ever, right? Invoice sent, payment received. So point I'm trying to make is at no point was van a factor, equipment a factor,
Right.
what camera was a
Right.
factor, the number of
Yeah.
crew was a factor. And honestly, what I told them, it sounds funny. If I told you, hey, give me 60 grand for 3 shoot days with 3 people with 3 cameras, you would literally look at it and be like, what? No, thank you, right? That sounds crazy.
Right.
But that's not what they actually bought. What they bought is access to my entire team, my post-production team, pre-production, and days and days. If they call me, I'm on call. And not just them. There's multiple projects happening. So I literally told her, I was like, hey, do not go by this. You tell me the day you need me, one of us is going to be there. to get that little thing, because it's a little project over a long time. Like, if we need to get this tiny thing, we're gonna be there. I'm 30 minutes away. I just need a 30-minute notice. And even if I'm not in town because I'm about to head to Missouri, I'm gonna send Mario. Or if Mario is not available, I'm gonna get another person. Right? I have enough chain of people to call, but they're gonna get someone there for that 30 minutes that they need to capture whatever they need to capture. And that's why they pay me the money, right? I mean, I know exactly what you were saying, but I'm saying at no point did what I say. Rather, I'm saying it's funny. I was like, if they compare this code to anyone else with the price point, it looks stupid. It makes no sense.
Well, and I want to say,
Yeah.
there's a way that it's like a little, was it, is either The Future or Blair Ends. I don't know if you're familiar with those two, but they go over a lot of
I know
sales
The Future.
proposals. Yeah.
Chris Doe, right? I
Yeah,
think
Chris
yeah,
Doe.
yeah, yeah.
But there was an interesting, I picked it up years ago, and it was like, what is, you take a job or you submit a proposal, but what is the amount of money where your client calls you at 1 a.m, you look at your phone and you see your client's name. What is the amount of money where you're going to pick up the phone or hang up the phone, or you're going to go, hey, how you doing? What can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great self check for yourself, because I think we have different experiences, we have different backgrounds, we have different resources available to us, insights, wisdom around what we do, and that's what obviously the client is paying for, right? They're paying for all that access, right? And so they do call, they do have questions. It's like Saturday at noon, they're in the middle of an event, they want to talk to you now. And so when they call you and you see that phone, it has to be a number, right? Because it's like I've had clients that are like, hey, DP rate 1 day $1,500, and I'm like, yeah, cool, but I also know that you call at 9 p.m. or I know that you call twice a week leading up to the thing, and it's not worth it. I won't take it.
Exactly. It's one thing if you just show up, do the job, you leave.
But
versus the amount of hours you're spending on it. Yeah, absolutely.
Versus having peace about like, yeah, this is a $20,000 job or a $30,000 job. And it's like, no problem. Call me whenever you want. Like, if you have any questions at all, I don't mind you calling on the weekends.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you, because some clients will do that. I will tell you. They will at 3 p.m. You're spending time with your family on a Sunday trying to watch Formula One. They will call you and say, hey, you got a minute for a chat? And you have to go yes or no. And usually my answer is yes. And that comes from just picking clients that you do want to work with, right? And I agree with you. If I don't feel like that about it, normally, let me remove February and March. Those were the weird months for me. But normally, yeah, for years, it's been a long time since, I would say, after COVID, I have not taken a client where I'm like, I don't feel like I can give you my 100%. And my whole thing is, if whatever price point, I do it that way. I'm like, I don't care if the budget is $5,000 or the budget is $50,000 or 400,000 or 500,000, whatever. Like their scale of business. Now, obviously, we already know if it's a $5,000 shoot, I'm only gonna commit to them one shoot day, one post production edit. With one pre-production meeting, right? So they kind of aware of it. But if they call me for a few questions, usually when I'm saying on that shoot, it's like, what do I wear? Are you guys gonna have microphones? Like, I don't know. I guess they don't get it. Like, yes, we're gonna bring everything. But what I'm saying is, but I try to at least personally make myself available 24/7 to my clients. But I do agree with you. If I don't feel my heart's in it, I'd rather not take the project. The only time I did that was, like I said, those 2 slow months. And again, even it wasn't that negative. It was just taking projects that I'm not usually a fan of. And then I had to go back. I was like, hey, don't say yes if you're not happy with these projects.
Yes.
And like I said, as long as bounced back, and I was like, yeah, never. And it was a good reminder. Like, I'm taking projects just because it's slow.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking them to fill the calendar up. But you're right. You don't want to. You want to take projects that your heart's not in it.
100%. Yeah, you hit it on the head. No, I mean, you learn through hard examples. Like, you have to learn hard lessons. Like, I would have rather had said no to this. And that's why I did and have and continue to say no to a lot of projects. It's like, sometimes the money is there. Sometimes it kind of makes sense. But I also know the like peace that I'll have if I don't, that I'm giving up, if I'm like stressed out or bending my usual framework or processes to meet their needs, and it doesn't fit with anything I do. It's like, and the other thing is, I said no to a job recently. It was a week-long job, multi-crew, and and it was with the agency I used to work with, and I would have liked. I did the job for like 4 years in a row, twice a year. Really fun job, lots of perks, lots of great food, lots of fun. But what I realized was, I actually only say yes to similar jobs when it's in my niche now. So like if I'm like donating, proffering any amount of services, taking a like a discount or budget cut or whatever, or like doing any kind of free work, only makes sense for me to do that with my niche. And so now it's so much easier to say no to everything.
It's like it's not in your
It's not my
wheelhouse.
niche.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're in my niche and like you're not sure if you have the budget or the resources to work with me, doesn't matter. Call me now. Like let's talk now. Because there's still a win-win where your network, your connections, you're sponsoring companies, like, or setting up a booth, or getting being on a panel at your event in front of your clients and stuff like that. So
there's value that you can gain.
So there's a ton of value, but it has to be in your niche. And I tried to do a YouTube video on doing free videos, all the free videos I've done, and it came out okay. But essentially, what I was trying to say was like, do it in your niche. Like, I know a lot of videographers and photographers who they're like, oh, I got to get at bats, I got to do free work. It's like, I've learned through doing a lot of that a lot of it didn't serve me in the long run, and what did serve me in the long run was when I started to like find my niche, and then the relationships in that niche. It was like I was carving a path, and everybody in that path was getting word of mouth. That free work has always paid off for me. Whereas you look at all the other free work I've done, and it's like, dead. It's just
exactly.
dead.
I think I've always for free work as long as you volunteer. My position on free work has been, if somebody is asking you to do free work for them, usually the answer is no, because it's not the right dynamic. But it's totally okay for you to do free work for other people, if that makes sense. It's okay to volunteer, like, hey, I love your cause, I love what you're doing, let me come, like I said, sponsor this, make a video or whatever. Because at the end of the day, it's a mutually beneficial relationship, because now you wanted to do free work for them, and they understand that the value they're getting is your services and your video that's going to help them gain whatever you're going to do for them. But now you're also benefiting because from adding it to your portfolio, your reel, or just getting those networking connections or whatever. I think it's totally worth it, because at the end, you're going to get something out of it, whether that's experience, whether that's more clients, or just connect, or whatever it is. I'm saying I totally believe in free work, especially if you're like, hey, what, if you sit down and say, what would I be doing right now? What can I do like that I really want to do? And if you can go achieve that just by and you have to do it for free, I would. To me, that's worth it. But now, like I said, the only time I say no is like that, the opposite, where somebody calls you, it's like, hey, come make this video for free, man. I'll give you exposure. I'm like, the exposure doesn't pay bills. No, thank you.
No, yeah.
Because that dynamic is completely wrong, right? That's where they're just taking advantage of you. There's no guarantee you'll get any return but exposure. And that, as we all know, exposure bucks don't pay anything.
No. And I totally agree with you. Like there's a massive conversation. So I'll give one example of like where it worked out really, really well for me. So I had a nonprofit reach out to me asking me if I could cover a multi-day. It was like a 4-day long event for them. And I got all the information I needed, and I felt like it was going to be a 2-person job. And at the time, I want to say I quoted them probably like 10 grand, like 8 to 10 grand. I do give a discount for nonprofits in my niche. And so they got back to me, after I gave them my number, and they said that they actually only had 3. And so what I did was I pulled an operator, and so I said, that covers the operator, and then I'll pay for all post-production. Like I'll donate post-production, and I will allow the operator to do like 2 full days, or like, just we'll be very particular about the time the operator is there to get the most out of them for you guys. So they were like, wow, that sounds amazing. Like, we'll still get a highlight video and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah. So they booked us, right? 3,000. I booked the operator. 2 weeks later, I get a call from somebody, and they're like, hey, we work for, it's a consultant group up in DC, very, very well-known consulting company. And the nonprofit referred me to them.
Look at that.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know, probably been like 200, in the last couple of years, and it'll probably be another. So guys, I took a loss of 7,000 for 200.
Yeah, it's totally worth it.
know?
It's like the best marketing you can do, and that's why I'm like, I totally like vibe with you, because it's all about doing the right thing, and it comes back. But you also have to do it with the intention of it not coming back. I feel like also when you're already like, if I do this, they may refer me and I may get something. I feel like that already, again, you start with that negative, I don't know, energy that just doesn't work. I feel like if you just go out there, do good, do positive. You're like, hey, I want to help this nonprofit. They're being honest with me. Like, they're being upfront with me what we can do. You want to be part of it. You help them, and then hopefully something good comes out of it. But, and it did. I think it's incredible. And if you do that on a daily basis, I'm not saying discount your services for everyone, but when I help where help is needed, I feel like, and even with clients who can pay full price, just do right by them. I feel like it always comes back tenfold. Like you said, you'll get a referral that may be worth 10x the money, or you may get connects somewhere where you've been trying to get into, or it may just be access, to somewhere you want to have access to. Or it may just be nothing but somebody, you help with, and they're always grateful. It doesn't have to be something major. I've had where we've helped, I don't know, a government agency or whatever, or obviously a state agency, let's say more, state government agency, where they were like so thankful. They were like, this is so amazing. And then, like I said, not expecting it, they did refer us some people that came to them, and they were like, oh, talk to Bindra or whatever.
Awesome.
They made our videos. And here you go. Here's the video. So you never know. I'm saying we never did that with their intention, because they came up. They're like, this is the RFP. Our current people who won the RFP dropped out. So do you want it? This is all it is. And please tell us what you're donating, because then you would be donating our portion of our services. And because, then they can report it back to whatever agency. Like, hey, look, this is how much we got donation back. So anyway, I'm saying it's a win-win without us trying to, if it was just us like, hey, is it this, do we want to do this? Absolutely. Now how can we write off this amount? Where can we get this extra portion? Sure, profit is the easiest thing, right? You're like, sure, we want to make profit, but it's like, I have costs. I got to pay, like you say, operators. I got to pay for post. I got to pay for all this extra thing. And I got to pay for my time. And obviously I'm not paying myself, but I'm like, where am I going to make that back, right? You have to do other projects where you make that back. Right. So either way, I mean, that's on us to figure out, not for them. But like I said, I've never been burned ever, where I genuinely try to help someone with nothing that I wanted in return. And at least for me, like I said, this is 101. And again, I guess you're there. Your examples are amazing too. So I would just say, run your business how you want to be, treated. And I think usually works out, right? Yeah. So tell us people about your niche. I mean, hopefully they listen to season 1 episode. But like, I know your niche is so interesting, what you do and who you help. So
yeah, so when after my dad was killed in Afghanistan in 2005, which the 20th anniversary was actually yesterday, the June 28th. Hate to date your podcast. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if this comes out in like 7 months.
Yeah, probably.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But so 20th anniversary, and after losing, I was 15 at the time, and so immediately I found out that I had a scholarship to go to college, that my college education would be entirely paid for, and so by several organizations, nonprofit organizations. So by the time I graduated, I just felt like I truly felt like I owed so much. And I know a lot of people would say like my dad made the sacrifice and that was there for me. People made the decision to donate to stuff like that. But I was just so grateful for my education and all that I got. And so I dedicated so much time to raising money for those same foundations, working for them. I worked in Jacksonville, Florida for a foundation for a year. I did some pretty crazy, like I did a Loda High challenge, which was 8 days from Death Valley to Mount Whitney. It was like over 100 miles, like 40,000 feet in elevation gain and loss. My feet were done. I was dying at the end. And I did like a lot of stuff like that to just pay it forward, pay it back. And that lasted about 10 years. And after 10 years, I started to sort of fall into video production. So when I picked up a camera, a lot of those people were like, come tell our story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really how I felt in my niche. I did do a lot of other stuff. When I worked, I had a portfolio of that stuff. When I moved to Orlando, that job gave me exposure to restaurants, hotels, construction. I mean, you name it, like nonprofit organizations, a lot of stuff. And so I learned how to use the camera for kind of anything, to tell a story anywhere with any amount of time. And so, when I started my company, I had the experience to produce quality at scale, and then my niche was like almost even more hungry. Like they saw that the quality was there, they saw the quantity was there, and so it was, the rest is history. A lot of the nonprofits that paid it towards me and commemorating my dad's sacrifice and with the gifts that they've given for my family, they ended up hiring us to do a lot of work. And that, honestly, like a handful of like 2-3 organizations gave us exposure to their donor base. And so the story was, hey, that's Jacob. We paid for his college. Now he started a video company. Now he's doing video for us. And then a defense executive sitting at that same table was like, well, maybe he can do it for our company. Let me put him in touch with our guys.
Yeah.
And so it was just my story. It was like, it was where I fit. It was organic. Like I wanted to pay it forward, so I was helping them. And then the people in the room saw that, respected it, and wanted to invite me. And so that's how, over the last 3 years, when we started our company, we spent 2 years kind of doing a little bit of everything. Like we were just putting food on the table.
Yeah.
But then really for the last 3 years, we just dove into our niche. And so now a majority of our money or revenue does come from for-profit contracting companies, defense and intelligence companies. Yeah, and it's a crazy niche. Like the people that come to me, I'm like, "What do you do?" They're like, "Oh, we're doing some pretty gnarly stuff and all over the world." And I'm like, "All right, let's do a video."
Yeah, that's like so crazy to think about. Yeah, who your clients are. I mean, to be honest, we had like a missile designer last year who's a videographer on this show. I'm like, "What's your day job again?" "Oh, you work for one of these defense contractors making missiles or designing missiles, and now you're like also going in filming somebody's wedding." I mean, the contrast couldn't be, like more. I'm just saying. But at least I like your motivation. Like I say, you were just giving back because you were given so much because of what you went through, and you were like, "Hey, let me go give back to this community," and now it's giving you more tenfold back.
I know.
Right? This is how it works, right?
I keep trying to pay it back, and it keeps like, "No, stop! I'm never gonna get out of debt."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You'll always owe them debt, right? But that's pretty cool though. I think it makes purpose. Not that like I said, what you're doing is awesome. I love video. I feel like everyone needs a video. But to have a mission behind it, to have a purpose behind it, I don't know. It just makes it worthwhile. Like I said, I love what I do. But sometimes, we get projects where we get to promote where we actually are making a difference. That's why I love those projects because I'm like, yes, I don't mind promoting this company's bicycle or chemicals or products or whatever. That's fun. That's good. I like it. I like what I do. But then when you help a company like last year to that documentary where 6 minutes to live, where we were talking about like cardiac arrest, sudden cardiac arrest, and raising awareness could actually save lives. And I was like, this is incredible. I'm happy to be part of this because not only is it we're making great images, right? We're here to tell a story of what we love doing video production. But now this story is gonna most likely go out and make waves and impact. And I don't know, it just feels good, right? On the inside, you're like, hey, my work makes a difference. Even though nobody's gonna see us, we're behind the scenes what we're doing, but they're gonna see the impact that we're making, and I think that's to me worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to echo what you said with we love what we do. I remember going through COVID and I was working for the agency and we were at Mission Inn up in Howie in the Hills. And it's like 30 minutes north of Claremont for those of you who aren't around or know the area, but they had to let go of a lot of their staff and it was privately owned. And I remember I showed up one day and there was a housekeeper who they wanted us to like tell her story. And she was like a 9/11 survivor. Like she was at the towers when they fell, and like she was like a housekeeper, and like she was like surviving through the pandemic, and she was working for her family, and it was just like that's why I love what I do. It's for me, and I can really find that in almost any job. Like I've never been on I have been on a couple of jobs where I'm like, I shouldn't be here right now. Like this is really bad. This is dumb. But for the most part, it's been great to just tell people's stories and when you're interviewing or when you're getting to know subjects to really make them feel seen and to hear them and to listen to their story and then to give them a platform, right? Because that's what so much of our work is we're making people not famous, but we're giving them a platform. We're giving them a voice. We're saying, hey, this is important. They're important. Listen to what they have to say. And we're going to polish it up so that, the message is succinct. It's very clear.
Yeah.
And when you give that to people, it's really, really rewarding. And it's a cool power to have.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I like I said, that's what makes I think most successful people in video successful. And I think it's pretty much actually everything. If you love what you do, it just makes it easier. It makes it easier to be awesome at it. It makes it easier for you to put the day in, day out, the hard work that goes behind the fun parts, right? Because sure, the shoots are fun. We're telling these stories. But the hours and hours of non-fun that it takes, it makes you want to just do that because you're like, hey, I love what I do, right? It makes it worth it. Switching gears, I want to talk pricing strategy because I feel like we've thrown so many numbers at people. If somebody's listening and they don't know you and me, they're like 50,000, 40,000, 200,000. Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? I can't make a living here. I can make 50 grand. So to give people an idea of pricing structure, like how to price videos, I feel like that's something that's for some reason it's the simplest thing, but it's gate kept a lot. And even for me, when I started out, I'm like, I have no idea how to price, because nobody wants to tell you that. I feel like it'd be really cool to like, I don't know, talk about that. Like, how do you price? And I get it. There's levels to it, obviously, when you're starting, when you're mid tier. But anyway, talk about your pricing strategy. How would you price a project? How do you approach it? How do you pick numbers that, things like that?
So obviously it's always different when people approach you, the scope of the project. But if you're looking, like, I have no problem kind of putting my general scope in price range on my website. I'm like one of the only video companies that does it. And I just like, it's a pet peeve of mine. And I don't think, I don't have anything against people who do it, but like, I've looked at websites and I'm like, oh, I want to see how much the DP is, or I want to see how much they charge for their grip package. And they're like, custom, call now. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get data, you know? And so in doing that, I wanted to put ourselves out there. So if you look on our website,
Pull
you know,
it up,
for
Mario.
you videographers out
Poor
there.
bear stories, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have essentially 3 different brackets. It's like pre-production, production, post-production. And then honestly, if you diagnose it, a lot of it doesn't make sense. You're like, wait, what do you charge for editing? Wait, doesn't that mean you make less than production days? But it's just been what works really well for us and what's kind of kept us competitive with our clients.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful website over there. So where is it? I can't see a text, Mario. Can you find where's pricing? Look at that.
Right here. Let's see. Pricing.
Okay, let's go down. Let's see what it says. How much does it cost? Look at that. How cleanly it's written. What does it say? 500?
Yeah,
for
so
pre-production. Okay, I see now. I was like, what video are you making for 500?
So pre-production, and then if you notice below, we have per day. So for pre-production, and what the only thing I don't say on this is like you don't have to buy all these things together. Like you can buy them individually. But I just want to give an idea to our clients of like, oh, okay, if I want to pay videographers to be on site, I'm going to look at production, and this is how much I can expect to pay per day, and this is generally what I can expect to receive from them. And so if you're a stranger looking at this, you probably have a lot of questions, but if you're in our niche, in our community, referral, word of mouth, then you're like, you know what, I know they have good work and I have a general idea of their pricing, and so let me, you know what, like I don't think this is out of scope and maybe he'll work with me. Let me reach out. So
if I'm understanding this correct, your lowest video would cost $500,500, so $2,000 is the lowest video you would do. Is that correct?
Exactly. And so
there you go. Makes it simple. Yeah.
We'd be willing to work with somebody at that. It just, it's like, what can my editor get done in less than 1 day of editing?
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes sense. And then your higher range would be what, 10 plus 2,500 plus, so 15K, right? That would be a higher range per day or per video that you're looking at, basically.
Yeah, and
obviously you can go to custom stuff, but you get the point. Yeah,
no,
makes it easy for people to understand.
And that's the average for us, right? Like, and I kind of learned my lesson. I think I bit off more than I could chew. This hasn't always been the same.
Yeah,
and the last pricing structure that I had was actually it was based off of our biggest paying jobs, which guess what? They're like, of the jobs, they're like 2% of my jobs. So
yeah, you don't want to scare people off. Is there more to it, Mario? Scroll down, or no? Is that
you can scroll down.
Let's see. Oh, look at that. Monthly packages. Do they have pricing too, or?
Yeah. So those are our retainer packages right there. So we have a social reels package, and then we have
Can you zoom more? I can't see. I know people probably at home can see. For who's listening, we're basically looking at his website, Jacob's website. It's called Poor Bear Stories.
Yep.
PoorBearStories.com. And kind of like looking at options that he has pricing packages, which is pretty cool. Like he said, it's not normal to have all this straight up on your website.
Yeah.
So social package, reels about $2,500 a month, which is pretty good pricing for 5 to 7 reels. Highlight video, $37.50.
Yeah, and if you're anybody, if you're like a real estate agency, or you're a general contractor, and you come to my website and you look at my prices, they're not going to make sense for you, right? Because if you look at my social reels package, $2,500, I know like 100 kids right now who will do the same deliverable for you for $250.
Yeah.
Right? But I just want my audience to know, tailored to your brand guidelines, evolving editing techniques, and collaborative, right? And that's what my clientele wants and needs from me. So this number for social reels will push a lot of people away. But guess what? We still have retainers. We still have people who pay us throughout the year to do this because it's valuable to them.
Exactly. No, that makes sense. Let me see some more, Mario. Go down, scroll down. YouTube. Okay, so that's customized stuff.
Yeah.
So what's on the left? Oh, right. My bad. Yeah.
So this is kind of where I'm hedging my bet.
Yeah.
That's all YouTube, and that's all custom pricing. because what I figured out early on was in helping people with their YouTube presence.
Keep going down.
If you have
Sure.
like, a channel that has 10 views and you're helping them grow, that's not
Mhm.
bad. The SEO, the tagging, the thumbnail design for 10
Mhm.
videos is fine. But when you have a client come to you and they have 10 years history with 1,000 videos, that's why it's custom
Yeah.
priced.
Exactly.
But I do like YouTube is where I'm hedging my bet and where I'm pushing my clients always, because it's organic ranking. Google SEO loves it. The more videos you have with all the data,
Mhm.
it makes us look better. It
Yeah.
makes our job.
Easier.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. No, that's really nice. Thank you, Mario. It basically, I like the way you're doing it. Again, not normal, but if it works for you, it works for you, because it gives your clientele an idea of what to expect. Now, let me ask you this: have you had anyone look at this and get confused, or no? Like, which package to pick, what rate, or whatever, or
Ye-
no?
So we actually, it's interesting the way it happens, but actually I shopped it with all my current clients.
Okay.
So like I was fully transparent and I was like, hey, what do you guys think of this? And they were like, okay, this part's confusing. What do you mean by this? And so I continued to refine it, but all of my current paying clients were like, okay, it's good to go.
Yeah.
Like we get it. I don't have data from other people or from people that chose not to work with us.
Yeah.
I know people have clicked on the page. I know who has clicked on the page, and I know that they left, they watched it. But the data that I do have is that we typically have 1, 2, 3 people that will reach out to us after 2 years of following us, after 2 years of looking at our website, after 2 years of knowing our pricing, and say, hey, I have a project. I think it's time. Can we talk about some stuff? And so really what they're doing is they're just constantly getting data about my company. They're like, what's he pricing at? Is he getting way out of his league? What's his crew look like? What's his quality look like?
Yeah.
Like, is he a good person? Is he, or do I not agree with his, whatever? And so that's, and then 2 years later, it's like, they're like, hey, I've been watching you guys. I've been, and I have a couple of questions, but I think we want to work with you and I think we're ready to press go. And at that point, it makes it really easy to work with those people because they have all the data already.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. No, you're being upfront, and again, this is still a range. It's not like you said $2,000 for a video. That's what I'm inferring from it. But they still have to reach out to you and talk to you about the project and the scope. Because if he needs 10 days of shooting, that's just an idea. Hey, at the same time, talk about something really new. Well, I say new. Something else I saw. Pull up Keylight Cinema website.
Oh yeah.
So I just met Mike, who's the owner of Keylight Cinema.
Ladisa?
Mike Ladisa. And then we had rented a Burano from him. So I had a good chat with him when I was returning the Burano. And so I happened to look up their website.
He just built his studio, didn't he?
He's building his studio right now. Yeah. Same thing. But I was very intrigued by how he does his pricing. It's very, again, to me, every job's custom, right? They call me, they tell me, I figure out the scope, I can give them the pricing. Or they give me a pricing and I'm the producer, I maximize the most. But he had like everything like very old school broken down. Yeah, keep going down. Look, stop there. Look, DP, 975. Basic camera package, 650, 2-ton grip package, 550. And then teleprompter and operator, 900. Hair and makeup, 750, right? AC, 650. So audio tech is this gaffer 750. So I'm like, okay, it makes it easy in a way. So I'm like, okay, so if I need a gaffer and a grip truck, it's 750 plus whatever the grip rate was up there. Then if I want to add a grip, okay, add that. So point is, it's very old school in a way. I mean, like you said, it's very transparent. It's upfront. But then on the other side, that's not how things are done anymore, at least where I see. But I guess there's an ease of it. It's like if you need an AC, you need hair and makeup, or whatever. You can easily go there, look at pricing. You can call the guy, book it up. Simple. But I think this is more aligned towards or what post-production is. See, drone and licensed pilot and all that. Very easy, but I think this is, to me, more for production companies. So this is one way to look up just what pricing should be, right? This is this guy who's been here a long time doing real good work. So you can kind of get a reference of what he's charging for either going himself or sending his team out. But then it also gives you an idea. You can go back, um, Mario, to the podcast. Awesome. So and then the other thing I like is like talking to him was, it makes it simple, but then you have to see that this is targeted towards other production company, other agencies, other marketing agency or whatever, like people who understand that lingo. If one of my clients, I told them a gaffer or a grip or they're not going to understand that. Like they have no idea. So I guess it's also who you're targeting, and it's okay to have two different websites if you want to target both, or even on the same website, maybe having two pages for like, hey, end clients, or I don't know, other production companies or something like that. I don't know the right way to obviously do it on a website. But what I'm saying is that like yours is more detail. I feel like is for end clients, right? Here's your options, and this was designed more towards other production companies, so people could do both, either or. But it's really neat for me because, like I said, I've always been like, I want to do packages. And like I said, we talked about that. But like to me, it's always been like the way at least I've done my business and it's worked for me is custom. People call me to tell me what they want, or usually, like I said, the best I am is when they tell me the budget. They're like, I've got X number of dollars, and this is kind of what I want to achieve, and me figuring out how I can get the most out of it, right? That money, and giving them the best video possible at that price point. So I love doing that. So it'd be hard to do when I'm giving them a set price point. It's like, oh, $5,000, but what if you needed to do 3 shoot days or whatever? I don't know. I guess the main thing I wanted people to see is what roughly pricing looks like, so you can then price out your services, what you think is valued at. Just giving some reference point from you who's successful doing this, from Mike who's successful doing this. But then I think also is picking who your target audience is, right?
Yeah. So, and then there's another thing that I want to touch on, which is there's this personality test called Clifton Strengths, right? And I think it'd be worth your team members doing. I paid for my team to do it. We have a coach that we speak to, who it's incredible how they're able to bring our personality, our strengths and weaknesses into like how we make decisions. And pricing is absolutely one of them. And the differences in pricing, the difference in jobs. Like Mike is a strong DOP. Now he has great stuff on his website, but the question I would ask is he somebody that doesn't mind assuring the end product? And I think that's where people like me and you are different from people like my DP or even David Moorfield. David has said many, many times he loves like, hey, I'm so optimized. I'm like in the bag, out of the bag, on the tripod, record, card, like everything is just dialed, right? And he is who we rely on to execute that job. And like my DP. Whereas we then have to go to our client and say, I got everything we needed. It's going to be incredible. And I can't wait for you to show the team. And then we have to stand behind that product. And over the years, doing that again and again and again, we build our reputation. We have our word of mouth or whatever. But we also, I mean, I'm very fortunate. I haven't had any bad clients or bad experiences where, God forbid, corrupted media or I forget what that one insurance coverage. It's like, it's not slander, but it's like if you
professional,
you like distort the image of the company in any way and they're sued for that, like you cannot be liable. That's like an insurance that a production company has. Now, if you ask my DP, does he want that liability? No. He's going to tell you, no, I don't want to do that. Like I want to be a DP. And so that's how my pricing is. My pricing is more about like the end result. Like we're a company where like you're guaranteeing the end result, right? And I have done it again and again and again. You can trust in that. And
and if your DP is not available, they're trusting you to make sure somebody else is available, or the crew is right, they're on time. But if they get sick, they called in, that you have to call someone else. That's what makes you a production company versus, you individually, right? You individually, it's like you are the person, and which is okay, like you said, David. But if David gets sick, it's David. Obviously, he can still tap a friend in or send somebody. But I'm saying you're hiring David, versus obviously as a production company, you're hiring a company because the company is not responsible. If they fixed a date with the crew, if last second somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I'm sick," or "I can't make it," or whatever, life happens, then it's your head on on the table. You got to figure out who's gonna come, who's gonna execute, who's gonna get that role done, how the shoot's still gonna happen, because it's entirely on your shoulder. Which is why you charge a certain rate, because you have other expenses to pay for, whether that's insurance, whether that's equipment, because a lot of DPs again own a single camera package of that, right? Like for me, it's like I want them to have the equipment I need, and I want to be able to supply that. And a lot of time, like you said, people aren't going to own. The gaffers around here don't have access to, typically, because it's a smaller market, the type of lights I want to use. So I'm like, hey, I have the lights, go use them, right? It makes it a lot easier to be able to bring in labor or bring in other collaborative people to bring in and make the things that happen that we want to happen for a client. And then you price based on that. And obviously, if it's just you, like you said, or like I was saying earlier, when I go help friends, I don't charge for any of that. But I'm not responsible for storing that data for years, or what happens, like you said, if the media get corrupted. But if I'm bringing gear, obviously I'm still bringing my high quality stuff. But I'm saying if I go help, I'm there to help. I'm there to bring my years of experience, and that has a value, which is why they want me there, or bring a certain level of gear that has value. But that's about it. I'm not responsible for post. I'm responsible for pre-production. If the talent is going to show up or say their lines right, stuff that I'm responsible for when I'm the production company. So there's each side of the coin, and I guess everyone has to decide where they're happy with, and try and figure out obviously how to build a career and make a living doing that, right?
Yeah. The other thing I want to touch on that is we, the production company, don't get paid to be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
We are the last thing from the hero. We eat all the crap.
Yeah.
We deal with all the BS, and then we make sure that somebody else is the hero at the end of the day. And so whether it's my DP or my client or their team, it's always them who are the heroes. And something interesting that happened actually this last week, that we were in Tampa working an event, and my client has a week-long college prep camp sort of, and the attendees, the students, were asking for the photos from my DP directly.
Mm-hmm.
And in years past, it's been an issue that I've dealt with as a production
Yeah.
company. There's a lot of bureaucracy I have to work around.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are minors.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them need
Talent release or
not
consent.
it's the consent
Yeah.
from their parents, or what kind of public use, or just there's a lot of different things going on. And so my DP was like, "Oh yeah, of course, I'll give you the photos." And I was like, "Oh my gosh."
No.
And I talked to the staff, and we got everything sorted out, and they fortunately had the parents all sign full releases on the kids. And so he was able to do that. Whereas in my head, as a production company, I am balancing.
Yeah.
And it's not something that he understood. Like we bickered about it for a little bit, but it's something that I have, like, it's caused me stress, and it's like bogged me down, or it's delayed post-production, or it's like been like 2 weeks of emails back and forth to the client, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that the production company has to deal with that the crew doesn't have to deal with, that I, through that pain, in my head, I'm like, hey, make sure we don't send photos to kids, even if it's just them and they want to see themselves. It's like pain. And so I carry that as a production company. But figured out a way, everything worked out, forms were good. So I was like, yeah, DP, you can send everything off to them. And they can appreciate you, and they can tell you you're an amazing photographer, and like they can say thank you so much, and
You're the hero. You're the awesome
and you can
guy,
feel
yeah.
like you had an awesome week here at the camp. But on the back end, the production company is always juggling the crap like that.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of bureaucracy and red tape that
Mhm.
we know about that maybe the crew doesn't.
Yeah,
right?
or they don't handle that, or they're not responsible
They're
for
not
that, and
supposed
that's
to,
part of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And it's okay. Not being a production company, I don't think for everyone. So if somebody wants to be a production company, awesome. I think I love what I do, but doesn't mean. And like I said, I love also being a DP. I love going to projects for my friends where, like I said, I go, I help them the best, and I give them the footage, and I walk away, and I'm like, this was awesome. I'm
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I am done.
yeah.
I have no idea. The clients or whatever.
If it's
Obviously, we
gonna
try
be
to
good
do
or
the job.
bad, but you're
Yeah,
good.
obviously, what I did was good, but I'm saying before and after, it's not my responsibility. Obviously, I'm going to do the best when I'm there. But you get the point, and I love that too. And it's okay. It's a good one of those shoots is a good breathing room in between, because then you're like, oh, chill. Like I don't have to worry about post. Julie doesn't have to be stressed out about
Right,
more videos she
right,
got to edit.
right.
So it's a good, I think, balancing act of, like I said, doing both, and it's just, I guess, whoever's listening, if it's just finding uh what they enjoy, right? And
Mhm.
if and just doing that, I guess, just do more of what you like. And sometimes it could be a mix of things, or it could be just one. You're like, I only want to be a production company, or only want to be a DP, and then just pick the lane and do the best. It is obviously going to be easier the more individual role you take, obviously, but then also that means your potential to make money is lower. But I mean, a DP can make good money, so yeah, I can't complain. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and-
I was going to say we're towards the tail end of
Yeah.
our podcast. So anything
Solid.
else you want to touch on before we end?
no, I was just gonna say I like on talking about my DP and DPs making good money. It feels good when you build a solid relationship with your camera guys, with your techs, with your crew, and you want to pay them more, and then you can pay them more.
Mhm.
That's a really cool feeling, and that's obviously something that only comes with time and experience. But there is absolutely something to be said about being the best at your job, whether it's a production assistant or a DP or an AC. Or a DIT. I mean, gosh, I love my DIT right now is freaking incredible. Like every shoot, it's like, I don't have to worry about this. I
Mhm.
can trust that you are going to like just zip through everything. And I'm so tired at the end of a 10, 12, 14-hour shoot, and my DIT comes and I can trust in that process. That's worth a lot to me.
Yeah, because data is everything. I mean, to be honest, we get paid to shoot, and what we're shooting is those zeros and ones on those cards. If that gets lost, that's very important. I've seen on some shoots. So now, obviously, we don't have a DIT because most shoots that I do, I like to bring biggest cards and simultaneously record. So that means we don't even touch the footage until we're back here in the studio where it's safe, and then we have multiple options to pull it, and I will send one card to one card to, just double safing everything. But I'm saying a lot of times I've been on other people's shoots where we are, or again, let me take back. We do have DITs when we are using cameras where we do need to dump in between, obviously. But coming back to, I'm saying I've been on shoots where I'm the DP or I'm helping out where they don't have a DIT, and it makes no sense. Like we're shooting an Alexa or whatever. I'm like, you are shooting Alexa Ari Raw on 256 gig cards. You got to dump every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And they don't have a count for that. And I'm like, it's crazy. And you don't, not only didn't you not account time wise for that, but you also didn't account for somebody to actually do that. Now, somebody else in the team has to now take on that extra role, and there's a high chance they have multiple roles now, they can mess up or something like that. And some of those cameras don't even have dual cards. They're only recording on that one card. So, you better make sure that it's backed up twice somewhere, or else, the whole shoot, which costs tens of thousands of dollars, is a total loss, because if you don't end up with the footage, then what were we doing here, right? So that is a big factor. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, when we next time, I want to just nerd out with you on like storage, data, Ethernet, 10 gigabit, like
Oh my
switches. Like next time, I
Yeah.
want to get into that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I love nerding out. Like I said, that I think, and that's what separates me. At least I feel like I could be. I feel like what we do is a very, very creative thing, and a very, very technical thing.
Yeah.
So to do what we do, you have to be really good at everything. And that means it takes either a lot of time or a lot of energy, which most people don't have. And I think what helps me is I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah.
So I'm always on top of like, what's new, what's everything, like both technical side, like what are the specs? How do we get the most out of this certain equipment? Like, and then the other side of it is like, what are the new things? What's the new latest movie? Like, how are they doing the new techniques? What's the latest commercials? You know, how are they doing? So, you know, like there's two sides of it. It does take a lot of time, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
To keep up with both. It's already hard to one side. And that's at least what I try to do. I'm like, that's my USP. You know, I gotta keep up with both, but it's hard. No, but I love nerding out. I think you've seen our server rack. You know how we've 10 gig. It helps Julie edit, but also be able to send footage if we have remote people to clients or whatever. Yeah, that's a good topic. I like it, but I don't know how many people care about that. But it's very important. Storage is key. Yeah, I know, because a lot of people don't realize that. Like, as a production company, what we record is of high value to us because that's what we were paid for.
Yeah,
I know. It's hard to understand that, but like for you know other people, like, because if yes, we spent all that money hiring the people, the crew, like you said, talent release farms, all that crap. But in the end, what we returned home with was zeros and ones on some
a
cards,
drive,
yeah,
on a
or a
couple
drive,
drives.
yeah, and that's the value, and you can keep reusing. Especially why people keep coming back to us is because now once we have that, right? We can keep using that even in future projects. Some B-roll from here, or some A-roll from here, or whatever. And as you build, as you keep working with a client for years, they're getting that value. It's just storing terabytes of their data is expensive. Yeah, but it's also valuable for them to keep coming back to you and me.
Yes.
Is because now we have an archive of years of data that we can, you know, deploy as needed in a project.
I think that's something that you and I are both nerdy about because from what I see, there are a majority of companies out there who are like, we delete your data after a year.
Yeah. I mean, to be real, I put that in the contract, but we don't actually delete it. That's just, I'm like, I don't guarantee any data after a year.
Yes.
But you're right. We do keep it, you know.
No, but I've seen
so much
people,
value.
I've seen people like, we deleted that a year ago or 2 years ago.
You don't want to actually delete anything. Ideally, as a company, you want to keep everything you ever record.
Because it's expensive. You made a massive investment in your server, your rack, and a lot of people are like seeing the NAS, Synology, QNAP, all those things pop up, and they're getting into it now that they have 25 terabytes of footage, and they don't realize they don't want to be a production company anymore.
And then they end up with drives, you know, stacks of drives, and you don't know what's gonna fail, which one is which. It's just a nightmare scenario. I feel like because then there's no redundancy, obviously. So yeah, those are the costs. Those are the what do you call? Indirect costs or hidden costs that people don't see that we have to bear because it's expensive to store terabytes and terabytes of data, and that's not accounting for the costs of then, you know, having redundant drives. Then if you want to send it to offsite for remote backup, those costs are very expensive.
Time. How long does it take to get the data back? Hey. We want that 10 terabytes you've shot for us over the last 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to take me a little bit of time to get to.
Especially with long-term storage. The cheapest option for us is long-term storage with Glacier or Backblaze or whatever. I don't know if you've tried. It takes forever for them to bring that back. Even though, you know, they charge you if you ever actually need that back. Because, you know, again, it's long-term storage, so I don't know how they're storing it, but it's not like a hard drive just ready to spin up.
No.
So it takes them a while, and obviously some of these companies will send you a drive and you return the drive or whatever. But it's still, I'm just saying, it's costly, it's time consuming, and but there's value to it if you do it correctly. But we can talk about that next time. But thank you, Jacob, for coming. It's always a pleasure, man. The conversations we have are incredible. I also want to thank Mario for being on the producer desk and doing a killer job.
No, thank you guys. It was a really great conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. And thank you to anyone who's listening or watching. Until next time on Studio B Sessions with me, Bindra.